Hello everyone. Today we are going to unpack the what exactly empowers the model global investing. Not in the apps but the infrastructure behind it. So let's start the foundation. Today we have Mr. Rohit Khandelwal, CTO of ViewTrade. Hi sir, how are you?
Hello, Deepti. I'm very good, and thanks for having me on this podcast.
Thank you so much for being here, sir. So today we are going to start the discussion. So Rohit, tell me what are the biggest challenge to scaling up the infrastructure?
Great. Let me first start with busting a misconception. What people often think that building a scalable trading infrastructure is all about speed. The more hardware you throw at it, and then the faster a trade can be executed, that becomes your benchmark for scalability. But that's actually not the case. More than a decade back, we have already breached the 1 microsecond barrier in terms of executing a trade. So now we can execute the trade at the blink of an eye, right, or even faster than that. The real challenge lies in making sure all of the different pieces of a pre-trade aspect and a post-trade aspect and the trade aspect, of course, they are all weaved together with all the different participants aligned and having the same sort of source of truth. Let me explain that a little bit differently, right? So every single trade, it starts with the pre-trade risk checks, the execution happens, and clearing, settlement, reporting, compliance, so many different aspects. Each of those aspects may not be done by one participant in the network, it may be done by so many different
Multiple
parties. Now, a successful or scalable infrastructure would be one where all the different parties of this entire flow are in sync, they are all accurate, and they are all fast, right? So you cannot have one time that the whole infrastructure or the whole life cycle of the trade executes in a few seconds, and then another trade which gets an error at one part of the flow. So it's all about making sure that all the pieces, pre-trade, trade, and post-trade,
Post-trade.
they all are weaved together, all are accurate, and all
Synchronized.
are consistently fast. So the goalpost has shifted to making it a holistic execution, holistic workflow, rather than just a speed of execution.
The main challenge is not a speed, it's a conversation or synchronization, we can say about
You
it.
can say that, absolutely right.
Can we relate with this some real world example?
Yeah, so take this example where if you have a trade and your execution happens in pretty much real time, once you send the trade over for clearing, at the clearing house, there is a part of the data which hasn't reached the clearing house, probably because of some setup issues or because of some data issues, right?
Anything.
Now, from a end client's perspective, this was not a great experience because the execution came fast, but the clearing took much longer than what it should. This is going to become even more evident as we go towards the tokenized infrastructure and a true real-time 24/7 trading. Because today you have this, I'm going to say, a cushion of an overnight batch where the systems stop, they pause for many hours. You have chance to correct things, you have chance to reconcile, you have chance to even inject data wherever it's missed. That is no longer going to be possible because your markets are running 24/7. There is nothing called end of day batch. So you have to constantly make sure all the systems in the entire infrastructure, not just your own, they're all in sync. So that becomes the real challenge. And that's where most companies go wrong because they just focus on getting the trade executed in the fastest speed. Throw more hardware at. That's my personal opinion. And that's where ViewTrade excels because we provide services which we do the best, and then we take services of other participants, what they do best. We weave it together and we put sufficient amount of redundancy and fault tolerance to make sure all of this is truly fault tolerant from a client's perspective, not just in the happy flow, right, but also in cases of high volatility, special market events, so on and so forth. So clients can really trust us.
So Rohit, after this 24 by 7 insights, can we discuss how ViewTrade is approaching real world and 24 by 7 market?
Sure. So we are zooming in now, right? Now, 24/7 market, like I alluded to earlier, the challenge with operating in a 24/7 environment is not an execution problem. It's a post-trade and a compliance problem, in my opinion. Because like I said, you can execute at the speed of light. You can execute on overnight markets. The tokenized world is already here. So very soon you'll be executing again at the speed of light in tokenized securities. But the whole post trade, the compliance aspects, these things which used to be overnight, these things which used to be batch based, they will now have to be done continuous. That's a paradigm shift, right? Now, what ViewTrade is doing is it is constantly moving up those functions, those specific actions or workflow actions which used to be done in the overnight cycle. It's constantly moving it up into the real time. So what it's really doing is, as soon as the tokenized world hits us and the trading becomes 24/7, we wouldn't be caught by a surprise, because most of these or all of these actions, they have already moved into the real time realm. So this is both a operational and a technological combo, right?
Okay.
Because you cannot have a system which does the post trade matching, reporting and other things in a real time way. Operational aspect still looks at an end of day report or end of day reconciliation. That's not going to cut it. So while our systems are being redefined, or I would say reimagined, to move everything towards a real time concept, even our operational, they are also being relooked at, and then everything is moving near real time. I wouldn't say it's instantaneous, but as far as possible to a real time aspect. The second aspect of this is automation. Automation is a buzzword last so many decades. But automation had a different meaning when we were in the overnight end of day cycle, because you used to say, yeah, you know what, do the reconciliation in an automated fashion once a day. Now it has taken a different meaning. Now we are saying there needs to be a constant reconciliation happening. Maybe you find different ways of doing reconciliation and not those file based reconciliation, right? The on chain infrastructure in itself provides a proof of correctness, thereby eliminating a need for an explicit reconciliation. So there are ways to
Do it.
and we really need to make sure that other participants in the
Market.
they also think and act the same way. And what ViewTrade is doing is not just its own system and its own operational workflows, but even the systems and the operational aspects of its partners who are other participants in a wider
Network.
they also get uplifted to come to this 24/7 in a real time
Level.
paradigm,
Got it.
if that makes sense.
Cool. So when you talk about the mismatch, how the mismatch occurs?
You mean mismatch in terms of the trades where the breaks happen? So let's take an old scenario, right? Why would a trade actually break? The trade would break because the client executes and sends an order, the execution happens, and client gets one picture. Now, this same trade needs to be sent to another. Let's say your company is executing broker. The clearing broker on the other side is receiving a copy of the same trade, supposedly from the clearing house.
Got it.
Now you have one copy, the clearing broker has another copy, and sometimes systems fail, sometimes humans make mistakes,
Absolutely.
and sometimes these boundary conditions happen, right? So due to variety of different reasons, sometimes maybe it's 1%, maybe it's 0.1% of the case, the version that the clearing house has is not the version that the clearing house broker has, is not the same version that the executing broker has.
Got it.
There you have a break. So now somebody in the olden world, somebody would look at that break, it'll go to a human being to actually check whether this is right, or somebody may actually have to make a phone call.
True.
And then and then check which version is right.
Absolutely.
All of that is not sustainable anymore.
Correct.
Now you will have to pretty much have this done within the next second. You can't make that phone call and you can't do all
True.
those
There is
things.
no time. Absolutely.
So that's why I say it's a paradigm shift. It's just not making the phone call faster, it's just eliminating that and making it automated, maybe put it on the chain, maybe make the process continuous reconciliation using a lot of these technologies, that you don't need to have that phone call.
True.
If that makes sense.
Got it. Interesting. So what exactly ViewTrade is doing to precaught these mismatches? Is there any step we are taking into?
Oh yes, we are taking a number of steps. Like I said earlier, all of our systems are being moved in the real-time realms, post-trade, compliance, and all of those systems. Also, all the participants that we partner with execute and clear and reconcile these trades, including the payment aspect of it.
True.
All of that is being done in real time. So we are helping all of these partners as well, so that in tandem we can actually just push it all up to a near real time basis.
So Rohit, tell me how ViewTrade is leveraging cloud first and API cloud native and API first architecture to enable the global liquidity and uptime.
Good question. So those are two separate questions really.
Yes.
Let's talk about API first architecture and then we will come to the cloud native. Now, if you see the trend in the industry, historically, brokers used to be pure play brokers. They used to just do brokerage and nothing else.
True.
Today, if you see, there are payment fintechs
They
who are getting into brokerage. There are insurance companies who want to provide brokerage services to their clients. So it's becoming a very versatile world, right? It's a world of super apps or super providers in some ways.
Absolutely.
Right? Now, what that means is these clients we are talking about, they don't want the overheads and complications of becoming a broker in their own right. So they need partners who can do the heavy lift for them to provide all these execution, clearing, compliance, tax reporting, connecting to all the different venues, wherever they are themselves located. That shouldn't make a difference to where they want their clients to trade. So you could have a fintech which is based in Brazil having a client in Egypt wanting to trade the US markets, right? Or Japan, right?
True.
Historically, that would have been very different, but over the years, there are participants who have made it happen to a good degree. ViewTrade takes this to the next, where we have got APIs to do pretty much everything in the entire workflow. It's almost like an a la carte model, right? So you can pick and choose what part of the services you want. You may want only execution and not a front end. We provide that. You may want a front end and execution and also a settlement system. We provide that. You may not want brokerage altogether. You may just want systems. We provide that as well, right? And systems for any kind of things. You may have your own execution and clearing and brokerage, but you don't have risk management. Guess what? We provide that as well as separately.
True.
So it's a true a la carte model. What that does, the clients don't have to have a all or none approach. Depending on what their jurisdiction is, where their clients actually sit or where they want to execute, they can take that specific service which their clients want and which the respective regulators require. So we have sized and sliced up the service model in these individual services, and that makes a huge for the clients, because now clients can have their model, they can choose their UX experience, let's say, if that's what they do best, and then choose all the pipes and plumbings that we provide.
True.
So that's the beauty of infrastructure, and we, like I said, ViewTrade has taken that API approach to the next level by providing this a la carte approach, right? So that's about APIs. Now let's talk about the cloud native or architecture. Now, it's very obvious that cloud provides scalability, but what people often don't see or what doesn't get often highlighted is that cloud is everywhere, right?
Got it.
Taking the same example that I said took earlier,
True.
the client could be located in South America, right, or anywhere else, and wants to trade on a completely different part of the world.
Part of the world.
The client may not even be near a global financial center. The only thing that matters is, does the client have near vicinity to a cloud location? And because cloud is global and our products are componentized, our products are pretty much divided into different services, we as ViewTrade, we are deploying all these different services at a global scale. You don't even know that when you are accessing the market data, the market data is likely coming from the cloud location, which is the nearest to you. And while the execution is going all the way to the other side of the, we take care of all that complexity. So what this does is, it removes that barrier which about the client necessarily needing to be in specific locations. Otherwise, you are going to get a lot of latency and then you are going to be at a disadvantage.
True.
We have taken away that barrier. So now it becomes truly global, and that's what adds in the grand scheme of things at scale. This adds to the global liquidity because now there are more buyers and then there are more sellers.
True.
So in that way, we are contributing to the global liquidity pool, And uptime, I think that's again a factor of the cloud model, that we don't have to, say, we are only operating out of New York City, and then when the New York is sleeping,
Absolutely.
then
Different
there's nobody
time
to
zone.
support those systems, right? That world is gone, right? And then ViewTrade takes it to the next level by having a global coverage, global deployments, and global clientele support.
So, Rohit, tell me what architectural decisions today will separate brokerages that survive the next decade from those that won't?
Okay, that's an interesting question. Now, I'll blame it on AI, right? Because what AI has done is the front ends, the trading platforms that used to take years to build, now you can build it in a matter of days or maybe sometimes weeks. So it's no longer a differentiation to have a nice front end, because everybody or pretty much every company can build it with the use of AI. The real differentiation then for the next decade and more will be in ensuring data integrity, trust, and the operational stability that we talked about earlier. So, brokerages who are able to ensure that trust, that operational stability, that correctness across the entire trade flow, they are much more, they have much better chances of being successful. I wouldn't call it an existential crisis, because that becomes a little bit of a scare mongering moment, but they will be much more successful in winning trust from their clients, and also they will uplift, or participants which are connected to such brokerages will continue to be successful. So with that, so that's our vision, or that's our thought process at ViewTrade. Now we are doing as part of that is we are making sure, like I mentioned earlier in our discussion, we are making sure that the entire chain, from starting from the front end to execution, to clearing, to post trade, to risk management, to corporate actions, compliance, tax reporting, all of that stuff, using all of our partners, it's seamless, it's fault tolerant, and it's always available. I'll again bring in the fact that the trading will become 24/7, so that adds an additional layer of complexity into it. And the brokerages, which will act not as a pure play front end only broker, versus the trusted infrastructure which weaves it all together completely, they will, in our opinion, they will have a much brighter future as opposed to brokerages that don't do that.
Cool. So, what do you think where companies are de-investing in India and where they are going wrong exactly? Or maybe not seeing as you are perceiving the fact?
Look, I can't speak on behalf of other companies, right? Everybody has
The
their
we
strategy.
can take about.
Like I said, we wish everybody well. That's in our DNA.
Absolutely.
But everybody has got their own strategy. Because, like I said initially, because building these front end products or the simpler parts of this ecosystem has become much easier. There are companies which are focusing on building the next coolest front end, or the next front end which integrates a payment service and an execution service. So they're thinking of that as a differentiation. But we think there are a lot of people who are thinking like that.
True.
So you will have to find that differentiation. And our differentiation is that we are the ecosystem, we are the infrastructure that runs this entire thing. So that's one. The second thing is, a lot of these companies are taking the clients away from the very company that, right? So basically, they sometimes get into this, they become competitors of their own clients. ViewTrade has got a very clear vision and a policy that we don't compete with our clients. Absolutely. We are the people behind the scenes. We are happy to be the pipes and plumbings. We are happy to be the infrastructure provider. We are happy to be the person who is not taking the Oscar award, right? We are happy to be the force behind. And I think that's why clients trust us, because they know that we are not here to outcompete them or take their clients away or beat them in their own game. And I think that clarity of our strategy makes us focused. True. And in my opinion and hope, is going to make ViewTrade a very crucial part of this infrastructure over the next decade, even much more than what it is today.
Clear vision.
Absolutely
Important
right.
for the company. So, Rohit, after understanding the financial operating system, if you are starting a brokerage or a fintech, starting from the scratch. So what would you build differently compared to the companies who have already done 10, 15 years before? What would you build differently?
Great. So I'll probably do two things. First of all, I won't start a brokerage because a pure play brokerage, in my personal opinion, is not going to be a viable business model anymore, right?
Okay.
So you could do two things. And again, this is just my personal view. There are so many ways to
True.
become successful in the financial services industry. So you could do two things. One is you could be very good at, let's say, one aspect. Let's say you're very good at the insurance business. So you provide great insurance to your clients, and now you want to also provide additional brokerage services. That becomes a value added layer on top of your base offering, right? Or you could be a payment, and then you want to put brokerage on top of it. So I wouldn't take the hassle of building the entire brokerage piece, putting all the brokerage pieces together. I would use a provider like ViewTrade to provide all the pipes and plumbings, like I said earlier, right? That keeps your moat intact, that you are an insurance first company or a payment first fintech.
True.
And you also provide these additional value added services to your client. And to do that, you simply come and hook up to an infrastructure provider. ViewTrade is definitely one of the leading ones, but you could go to anybody.
True.
That's one way to be
B2B.
successful, I think. The second way is you can be part of that infrastructure, right? The way we are.
Got it.
So you can come and be part of our ecosystem of partners.
True.
In fact, ViewTrade is very actively working with its partners to create this ecosystem, this marketplace, if you will, where all these participants come together and they provide their respective services.
True.
And we support them. And by virtue of that, we support ourselves in building this ecosystem, right? So if you see how that adds up, so you could do one of those two things.
True.
But I wouldn't start a pure play brokerage.
Great.
And sorry to put the cold water on that, right?
And why company wanted to build everything in house? What do you think? There are many
Yes.
who are doing it.
Yes, I think that's part of the legacy mindset, in my personal opinion. I'm not saying that is doomed, that is destined to fail, right? What I'm saying is it's just so difficult because you are going to spend resources and energy and money on doing a lot of these things
Together.
that you can pretty much hand over to another provider who does it for a living. So yes, you could do that. And that's why if you look at traditional companies who have 20,000, 30,000 employees or even more, they are doing all of those, trying to do, or they have been doing all of these things for the last many decades. Now they don't need to. So they are also realizing it pretty fast. And we want to be the company which helps them normalize or find their focus so that they can focus on what they do best and let the ecosystem providers do what they do best.
They want to do it. So, Rohit, tell me, what cybersecurity and resilience challenges should fintech leaders anticipate going forward?
So, connecting this back to what we discussed earlier, right? That it's becoming much more distributed, or it makes much more sense to have a distributed architecture going forward. The cybersecurity goalpost is shifting from my own internal company boundary to now the entire ecosystem. So if I have partners and other parts of the ecosystems which are not resilient or where cybersecurity is not up to the mark, I can do all I like, but the chain would break somewhere someday, right? That's our biggest challenge for a truly distributed ecosystem. So what we do differently at ViewTrade is the security and resilience is not done as an afterthought at ViewTrade. Our entire thought process, our choice of partners, our design principles, they start with these very concepts at the core of it. So when we offer anything to the clients, we have already baked in the right checks and balances and controls and processes to make sure that security specifically and the resilience is already top notch, not just for the systems that we own, but for the systems and operational workflows of all of our partners.
Yes.
So that makes a big differentiation for us. The second thing is, in fact, that adds to the complexity is the thing that we discussed earlier, and that's about the trading becoming 24/7.
24/7.
So now you don't have those luxuries to say, I had a cybersecurity issue, I will get time at end of the day to correct something, report something to someone. It all has to be instantaneous. And that adds complexity. And we recognize that we have to have that security and those controls in place at real time to ensure that these things, any breaches don't happen. If there are any flags, those flags are acted upon in real time, not with human intervention.
True.
And because of that security first mindset, all of our systems and processes, like I said earlier, they are fault tolerant to the maximum possible degree.
Degree. Interesting. So what do you think, where is this blind spots to cover all the infrastructure on the place?
I'll answer it differently, that the companies which are facing these blind spots are the companies which are focusing on making sure that their own turf is secure and resilient, but they are not focusing on the other parts of the ecosystem.
Oh,
That's a blind spot.
got it.
That's an assumption that they make,
Make.
and quite often a wrong one.
True.
And then they learn it the hard way. We are starting with, like I said, with the principle that everything can go wrong.
True.
And now let's start figuring out those participants and partnering with those parts of the who have got that resilience and that security built in their DNA, similar to it's built in our DNA.
Got it. So Ranil, tell me how ViewTrade is incorporating client feedback to their product roadmap and how it is meaning to the customers.
I think I mentioned earlier that there are clients from variety of different avenues whom we are enabling to provide cross-border investing, right? So we may have a payment fintech using our services. We may have a family office using our services or our APIs, our front ends or whatever else we provide. So we have got a wide variety of diversified client group, and every client might need slightly different experience.
Naturally.
The APIs that work for one type of client group may not be perfect for the other kind of client group.
True.
So we recognize that differentiation. And that's why we constantly seek feedback from all of these client groups to say, it doesn't matter if one client has already given a 10 on 10 to our services. The other client group may actually, it's not 10 on 10, it's 7 on 10, right? True. So we are conscious of that fact, and that's why we reach out to clients on a proactive basis to give constant input. That's the first thing. The second thing is, if our services are 10 on 10 in 2025, that does not mean they will be 10 on 10 in 20.
Agree.
Because the market is moving, there are new products that are coming out, people are putting money into newer asset classes. Some people are moving money from crypto to predictive markets.
True.
A lot of people are interested in tokenized instruments instead of the classic instruments now. So when we hear from the clients, they tell us that we should be adding this feature or this asset class or this capability in our products. And that's why we think it's just so important to not stand still and be complacent with what we have, but constantly seek that feedback from the clients. So our offerings are competitive. They enable our clients to provide holistic services, and we'll always make sure that our clients don't get left behind just because we don't provide a particular service. So that's how the client feedback gets taken. That's the seriousness with which we take it, and that's what we do with that feedback. I think I already mentioned earlier that the very fact that ViewTrade does not outcompete our own clients, that makes our clients much more comfortable that they can trust ViewTrade to provide their genuine and honest feedback without a risk of we taking their feedback or their idea and competing with them in their own turf. So that becomes, how do I put it, that's a self-fulfilling aspect of trust.
True.
And that makes our products better, that makes
Better.
our clients more
Experience
successful,
better.
and that their
True.
success then leads to more business opportunities for us, right? So it's a nice
Absolutely.
circle of life, if you will.
So can we say this customer is demanding, apart from the service and features, speed, customization, risk reporting and everything, is customer demands on that?
Yes, to most of those things. We haven't seen clients who are asking for just the speed of execution. Speed is no longer, like I said earlier, speed of execution is no longer a differentiation, right? If you're executing at 1 microsecond, you can only go so fast, right?
True.
Then you can go think about nanoseconds, right? And that's no longer, that's a diminishing value if you keep chasing in terms of your race to the bottom. What the clients really do need is speed and efficiency in the entire life cycle, not just execution,
Not is the
but the
part of
whole,
it.
like I said earlier, the post trade, the clearing, the settlement, the reporting, the tax reporting, all of those aspects.
True.
That's what clients are looking for, and we are working hard to make that happen. So let's talk about customizations. Customizations are also being asked for by many clients.
Okay.
So there are, I think I mentioned earlier, that we provide a la carte services. There are clients who want our front ends in a very customizable manner, right? So somebody sitting in Middle East, their clients would like to see the front ends and those financial terms in a different, as opposed to a client who is sitting in a native English speaking country.
True.
So our products are multilingual. They also have regional nuances built into them. Our settlement services, our compliance services, they are very configured or attuned to regional requirements.
True.
So ASIC in Australia, it's a different compliance regime, and its requirements are different
Jurisdiction.
from FCA in Europe or from FINRA in the US, and so on and so forth.
True.
So we understand the gravity of this responsibility well. So when we say we provide cross-border investing around the globe,
We
a lot
actually
of work goes behind the scenes in making sure that we cater to those regional compliance and reg reporting nuances and reporting nuances so that our clients don't have to worry about it.
True. So, Rohit, after this intermediate insights, looking forward, how do you see financial infrastructure evolving as a trading becomes 24 by 7, as the assets become tokenized, and how ViewTrade is helping to build this infrastructure?
So there is quite a lot for the clients in this question, and also the market participants or intermediaries, as you would call it. Let's talk about what it means for the intermediaries. So the role of intermediaries is not going to go away anytime soon, but it will surely evolve. In past, an intermediary, let's say a custodian or a reconciliation provider or a payments provider, who used to be more or less like a processor of the paperwork in a semi-digital format, that role is going to evolve to a real-time platform which is able to perform the same function in real time, right? Now, it's a mixed world because there are still parts of the overall global ecosystem which are operating in the legacy way, and then there are other parts which are moving faster, other countries, other exchanges which are moving faster as compared to the old ones, right? So we cannot completely take a 0 or 1 approach to go from the full legacy to fully automated, fully real time. We have to support both sides of the world and everything in between during that transition. So we recognize that, And that's why clients or intermediaries who support a wide variety of geographies and wide variety of exchanges, they would need this, call it this diversification, if you will, from a partner like ViewTrade. So we provide that support for the true 24/7 tokenized, fully real time type of a model, as well as the more traditional models.
Traditional model.
So there are intermediaries or partners who often struggle because they have to go to one broker or to one ecosystem provider for doing one flavor and to another to do another flavor.
Another thing.
We bring it all together, right? And by virtue of that, we actually help these intermediaries, these market participants, to themselves evolve as the market evolves, right? So we want to help them so that they help the entire
The
ecosystem,
ecosystem.
which ultimately helps us, right?
Us only.
Like I said, it's a benign circle.
True.
That's for the market participants who are part of the infrastructure. Now let's talk about clients, because they are the heart and center of everything.
True.
So clients similarly, they need, so a client, an end client who needs access to financial market, his or her goal is investing. The client may want to invest in a market irrespective of whether it has tokenized assets or not. So our diversity enables clients who to invest in variety of different asset classes and variety of different, rather than just one size fits all approach.
True.
So clients come to ViewTrade because A, we don't compete with them, our B2B clients,
True.
but they also come to us because their end clients or the end customer can get all the services that they potentially might need, whether they want to trade on a fixed income instrument in the United States, to a stock in Australia, to a mutual fund somewhere in APAC. We bring it all together
One roof.
in the model that they want, in the delivery model that they need. Is it front end or is it via APIs? We provide customizations to the maximum possible degree for reporting. So we are able to integrate or fine tune our services, our reporting, our outputs to match as far as possible with our B2B clients formats, right?
True.
That helps our B2B clients and
As
that
well
helps
as
their
end
customers.
users. True.
So we try to cover the entire gamut for our B2B clients and their customers as far as possible, and that's the true strength of ViewTrade.
True.
Our client focus, our customizability, if you will, and our versatility, if you will, right? So that's our huge strength, that's our USP, and that's what separates us from our competitors. And yeah, like I said, clients who are even maybe considering ViewTrade as one of the option, we are very welcome to have a RFP discussion with these clients. We are very open to having candid chats with our clients, whether or not their business is immediately going to get to fruition, but we are very open to providing information to them, advising them on how they can ultimately get to their goal, right? We are open for clients and we are open for partners. So we are open to business.
Perfect.